Welcome back to Night Shift Woodworking. Got a treat for you today. We're going to talk about some inexpensive tools and a few tricks. Going to surprise you today. Even going to talk about this foam pad. You're not going to believe what you can do with this. So let's get this show on the road. I'm going to move this out of the way. Right now we're going to start talking about this panel here. So it's a little wobbly. I put it in the clamps, let it sit too long, and it started to bow up like a potato chip. So I'm going to tell you how I made it here. So I made it out of cedar fence pickets. You know, they were longer than this. Cost me about $2.50 a piece. So I stacked them on top of each other, glued them up, and then I glued 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces together, cut out my shape, and it turned out like this. And the reason I made it was to go on top of this cabinet I was making. And it was going to go right here. And I was going to have some doors and a drawer and all that good stuff, but I want this to be flat. I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to show you a few tricks along the way. Now, the first thing we're going to do to flatten this thing out, what we're going to do, we're going to cut it right down the middle, and then we're going to have 2 pieces that'll fit right in my planer. We're going to plane them out completely flat, join them back together, and we're going to have a perfectly flat panel. It's just going to be about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little less. The width's going to change, but don't worry about that. So we're going to cut it in half. You can cut it in half a lot of stuff. Cut it with the table saw, your bandsaw, just depends on what you have. But we're going to talk about this bad boy today. And we're going to slit it right down through the middle. Wait a minute. I don't want to cut through my table. So what I'm going to do? I don't have any of those little fancy pants, purple whatevers that you buy at Lowe's. So I do have this. So let's see what we can do with this. I even have some of these pads that's got the little knobs on. Cut the knobs off. Now you're going to cut smaller sections, whatever size you want. It ain't got to be perfect. Thing cut smooth as butter. I could have did that with a razor blade or whatever, but I like using my bandsaw. How are we going to keep from cutting my table? Let's use these pads here. You can cut them about any size. Pads under there. It don't really matter. But I tell you one thing, I'm not going to cut my table. I ain't got to go to Lowe's to buy one of them fancy pants, purple thingies people use. We're going to talk about tool number 2. And it's not this pencil. I'm just sharpening it up. Tool number 2 is this fold-out ruler. The more worn out, the better. If you get these, they're like $10 a piece. You can get them a little cheaper, a little bit more expensive, depends on where you get them. Don't get the yellow one. A whole lot harder to use. And the little slide rule seems neat, but it gets in your way. So don't worry about that one. You think you need your fancy pants ruler? Don't need that either. What's so cool about this? I'll show you something real cool. See how quick I unfolded that? If you put your thumb right over top of the ruler, and as you pull it, you just let it fold out. You can fold it and unfold it really easy, but it becomes really accurate and really useful to you. Because if you want to measure to the center, whatever that you figure the center to be, let's say I'm going to measure it to 12 inches. So I'm going to mark, see what I'm doing there? I'm going to mark it right there. And I'm going to mark it right here. And I get my good straight line. Benefit for me, one, is this cool thing I showed you where you just kind of fold it out and you look cool. 2 is when you use a tape measure and you got to make a little crow's foot or whatever. We don't need all that. I really like these. These are cheaper than the tape measure. Good to stick in your pocket, have around. I like these a lot. Like I said, you can use your track saw, the Festool, you can use one of them. Hell, you could use a router, handsaw, table saw.
Potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich. That's about it.
We're going to take my WEN, and this thing is really cost efficient for what you get. Really good slide here. Just as good as a Festool, right? Festool fans out there? You got a couple batteries here. These batteries will last a while. Put your 2 batteries in there. Make sure you got plenty of power. And hey, it won't run on 1 battery. You got to put 2 batteries in there. I learned that the hard way. And now, when I push this button, she's going to go, buddy. Now let me tell you something first. This track saw right here, you can go to Lowe's today and pay $112 for it. Or you can buy a Festool or whatever they cost, $600. See what a Festool costs. I can go to Rockler and get a Festool saw in a fancy box for $679 versus $115. You do the math. So I'm ready to cut. I'm on my line. Just throw it down through there. Ready? Let's go. Now you can hook up your dust collection right here, or you can do like me, hold your breath, whichever you like. Admire that good straight line there. It's going to make a good joint. These Festool saws, WEN saws, forgive me Festool fans. Put my little padders away. See, I cut through that thing, but it don't matter. Now trick number two, or tip number two. I got my DeWalt planer, a lot of y'all have them. I got my Harbor Freight dust collector. I got a regular hose just fed into my Harbor Freight dust collector. See, I got a little bit of sawdust in there. Now, cool thing here, I'm not even gonna have to turn my dust collection on because this DeWalt will put out its own airflow and it'll push the chips right in the bagger without me having to even turn the system on. So I could sit here and run this thing all day long, and as long as I'm keeping that bag emptied, I'm good to go. Let's give it a shot. All right, we're done with that. Got our panel flattened, flat as a board. All right, the next goodie I got for you, it's gonna be this Doweling jig. Now the mother-in-law gave me this for Christmas one year. Go figure. We're gonna take our straight edge and our pencil. I got 5 dowels, so I'm gonna just make me a straight line here. Don't have to be perfect. And then put a line on both pieces of material. All the way to the end here. All right, I found an intruder. This little lizard here. Come here, you little lizard. Where you going? All right. I guess I got to share my garage with this lizard. All right. So now you got to line that line right there up with the reference line that you made. Make sure you use the right drill bit for the dowels you have. So right now using this, and this is less than $10 too. It's like a cheaper one, a plastic one, but reads just as good as my $40 one. So right now I got this set to inches, it's 0.31. And then I'm gonna run through and find my drill bit. I already know which one I'm gonna use. It's 5/16. And that is 0.30, just a touch smaller than my dowel. And all I'm gonna do now is just drill to the proper depth. I'll put me a little flag on here. Just move it on down the line. So another tip, and this one's a dollar store tip for cost cutters around here, penny pinchers. This is a flux brush. You can get the dollar store. You can get these in a pack for $1 for several of them. And same things for the detailed brushes. Get those in a pack at the dollar store. That's where you get your brushes. You don't get them off Amazon. You don't get them from Rockler. You know, these come from the dollar store. Save you some money. So you're going to put you some glue in your holes. And use your little fancy brush if you want to, that you got at the dollar store. Tight bond, don't fail me now. Don't fail me now, tight bond. Let's get some dowels in here. Now I made this a little maul in my other video, so I'll make sure to watch that. I know you're jealous of my maul. Some of y'all can't hit something that small. Y'all need a bigger mallet or a bigger dowel. I'm just joking with y'all. Okay, let's give some clamps. Here's another good deal on clamps. You buy these clamps right here, these things for like, I don't know, $15, $18. They're called pipe clamps. Then buy you a piece of pipe and you can get them on Amazon. I'll link them in the description. But as far as a good clamp for a really good price, here's your guys right here. Now just eyeball it and see if our holes are going to line up. Some people like to dry fit this stuff. I say, hey, just roll the dice here. All right, looks good to me. I just want to make daggone sure my holes are deep enough. Because if they're not, we're in trouble. You'll catch hell, and I did this before. You get in the middle of glue up and your dowels are too long for your holes. Then you got to start all over. All right, that's probably going to work there. So now you're going to take your dollar store brush here. In this case, we're going to put some glue on. Oh yeah, look at that glue. Top bond don't fail me now. Yeah, put a lot of glue on here. Oh yeah. Dollar store special here. Yes, sirree. You got a little hair in your glue, don't worry about it. You ain't gonna see it no way. Leave that thing right there. Paint that bad boy in there. Yep. That's about all you need there. Get a little bit more room in these clamps. Some elbow room here. All right. Easy that was. I could have used the clamps to do that, but just want to show you how easy it is. Let's close it up until this gap closes. All right. Now we'll put one on the top here. Tighten it down a little bit. All right. Got you a perfectly flat glue up. Thanks to your trusty dowels that you put in there. Mister, I need to name this hammer. Y'all put in the comments what I need to name this hammer. Maybe Bessy. No, that's what the clamps are. These clamps are Bessy. So it's got to be something else. Gloria or something. I call it Becky. My hammer's Becky. Now let's let that panel sit about an hour, hour and a half, and then we can go ahead and take clamps off. Now, if you're one of them fancy pants woodworkers, you know, you can spray it and wipe it down and get all your glue out, or you're one of them scraper woodworkers, you can do that. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I'm gonna wipe down this side, and then whatever's left on the other side, I'll do a little scraping. How about that? Now, while that thing's drying, I'm gonna put up some of these tools, clean up some of this mess. Now, one more thing, the great thing about these little brushes here is right after you use them, go wash them all with water. You throw them back in the drawer. Keep using them over and over and over again. That's Cost Cutter. Got them from a dollar store, and I'm gonna reuse this thing a bunch of times. Stay hydrated, y'all. Not sponsored. It's been a couple hours. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out of the clamps. I can already tell I have a nice flat piece. I'm going to go ahead and just take a little glue off the top of it. So all she needs now, a little bit of sanding. We'll be ready to go. Be ready to do the install. So that's that part. Now, I got one last treat for you. I got this last week, and I got it for $50. It is a moisture meter. And I used to see these things and I wanted them on, you know, the Blacktail Studios and all those guys. These were like $500 plus, think the maker was Wagner. So these, you get these about $50 on Amazon. Check that out. I just got it. So it's got a few settings. It's got a softwood setting. It's got a drywall setting. It's got a masonry setting and hardwood. So hardwood, softwood. We got softwood here being cedar. Let's see what we got. Now, most of the time wood, I think you're looking for 13% or less. Now, softwood is a little more forgiving. So I could get away with that being 14, 15. I could get away with that being softwood. If that was a hardwood, then I would not want to use that for anything because it would dry and crack. Check a couple more. Let's go put it on. Let's put it on hardwood. All right. It's a piece of scrap wood. I don't know what that is. Y'all put it in the comments if you know what that is. I have no idea. All right, that's pretty dry there. 9.0. I got some Paduke. See what the Paduke is. 7.4. That doesn't surprise me. It's been sitting in there a while. Got a little scrap of walnut. Scrap of walnut here. See what that is. All right. All this is about the same. I got my scraps in here. So get you one of these meters. Good stuff. Hold it down. Off. All right. I hope you picked up a couple tricks today, a couple tips, and appreciate you joining me in the show. This concludes today's episode of Night Shift Woodworks. Be safe. Out of here.